All right, we're ready? Good afternoon. We're here today to announce some of the results of one of the most far-reaching and extensive investigations into the brutal criminal organization known as MS-13. The intelligence gathered during this investigation regarding MS-13's hierarchy, organization, and operations will be invaluable to law enforcement agencies around the world. This investigation was conducted over a 7-month period by dedicated members of the DEA and my office in conjunction with a model partnership between more than 20 law enforcement agencies. Together, based on our investigation, we arrested the man who leads MS-13 operations in the eastern United States. We also indicted other alleged murderers and heroin traffickers and intervened to stop at least 3 gang-style killings in New York, New Jersey, and Maryland. We prevented violent attacks on Long Island, uncovered a structured network of MS-13 operations in New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, Texas, from within a Mississippi prison cell, and in countries around the globe, including Mexico, Colombia, Korea, France, Australia, Peru, Egypt, Ecuador, and Cuba. And working with our partners, we provided Salvadoran authorities information that contributed to the arrest of an alleged MS-13 kingpin who is now charged with 17 horrific murders in El Salvador. Our work is ongoing and our partnerships are strong. It's an honor to stand here this morning with the men and women representing the agencies who made this investigation possible. So let me begin by acknowledging those who have joined us this morning. DEA Special Agent in Charge James Hunt, Department of Homeland Security Assistant Special Agent in Charge for Long Island, Gerald Handley, FBI New York Senior Supervisory Resident Agent Geraldine Hart, Nassau County Police Commissioner Patrick Ryder, Special Narcotics Investigator Lee O'Hara, Maryland State Police Sergeant Rich Keyes, Prince George's County, Maryland Police Major Dan Weischer, Lieutenant A.J. Gardner from the Anne Arundel Police in Maryland. Also assisting us in this investigation, before I get to that, people from my office, my Special Operations Bureau Chief and Deputy Bureau Chief, Ed Friedenthal and Christiana McSloy, who I don't think have slept in the last 7 months. Also assisting us in this investigation were the Anne Arundel County Police Department, Bedford County Commonwealth Attorney, Bedford County Sheriff's Office, DEA, Houston Division, Washington, D.C. Division, and San Salvador Country Office, the FBI New York, Baltimore, and Newark offices, and the FBI Island Gang Task Force, Jefferson County District Attorney's Office, Maryland State's Attorney in Harford County and Prince George's County, Suffolk County Police Department, and the United States Attorney's offices in the Eastern, Southern District, and in Baltimore. This is a sensitive, ongoing investigation. The safety of others and the continued success of our operation constrained me from going into several details of this operation. And as a matter of law, I cannot name some of the people that are in custody because they are awaiting extradition from other jurisdictions to Nassau County. But I think it's important to inform the public about this massive investigation and its impact on public safety. Today's indictment alleges that various MS-13 gang members or associates committed crimes including murder, conspiracy, and the trafficking of large amounts of heroin and cocaine. This investigation provided evidence of the nature and scope of the organization, its hierarchy, and its operations, here on Long Island and throughout the United States and around the globe. MS-13 is composed of subgroups called cliques that operate as an organized set throughout defined territories. Today's indictment focuses on the Sailors Clique and the Hollywood cliques of Long Island and their murder and narcotics conspiracies that extended to New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, and Texas. These cliques' activities were directed by the gang leadership in El Salvador and advanced MS-13's goals of domination, and intimidation. Throughout this investigation, we identified a defendant who we allege to be the regional leader of MS-13's notorious and violent sailors clique for the entire United States. This defendant ordered beatings and murders and directed the gang's drug operations in New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Texas, and elsewhere. The evidence gathered revealed that while one of the regional director's associates was incarcerated in a Mississippi prison, he brokered deals with the Mexican mafia to buy kilograms of heroin for gang members to sell in the Bronx and in Long Island and in Baltimore, fueling the opioid epidemic. Through the execution of search warrants and arrest seizures, more than 4 kilograms of heroin was seized, as well as cocaine, a loaded firearm, a large hunting knife and machete, and gang paraphernalia. More than 133,000 individual doses of heroin were seized, with a street value of approximately $1 million. The investigation has also disclosed the identity of the head of the Hollywood clique on Long Island. Like their sailor counterparts, members of the Hollywood clique are charged with truly horrific crimes. In Nassau County, their crimes include the brutal July 21st, 2017 murder of 15-year-old Angel Soler. At just 15 years old, Angel was still a child, but gang members saw him as a chavala, an enemy of MS-13. The indictment alleges that Angel was lured into the woods by Hollywood clique members, where he was brutally murdered and mutilated, his body partially encased in cement, left in a remote wooded area near the Meadowbrook Parkway. Sailor clique members are given to the same sort of brutality. Shortly before Soler's murder, on July 19, 2017, 2 members allegedly planned the capture and murder of another young man by luring him with marijuana into the woods in the Freeport-Roosevelt area. These members allegedly realized they did not have the tools to dig the grave and did not do any investigation to check for cameras or law enforcement, so they delayed their plan. The following day, working with NCPD and Homeland Security, one was detained in the Glen Cove area at his landscaping job. The murder plan was thwarted and the victim remained unharmed. MS-13's operations are highly mobile, and just as large corporations frequently relocate employees to where their skills are needed most, MS-13 moves gang members after they commit crimes to evade law enforcement and to perform assigned work elsewhere. At the instruction of its leadership, the gang's members move to new territories. They're provided with housing, welcomed into a new clique with new roles and new responsibilities. Through this investigation, we learned that on September 29, 2017, the Sailors regional leader tasked 3 Nassau-based members to commit a murder in Maryland. These defendants were directed to travel to Maryland to kill an individual they suspected was cooperating with law enforcement. The regional director allegedly provided specific instructions for the murder and disposal of that body, but thanks to the outstanding work of our law enforcement partners, the plot was foiled. The gang members were arrested and charged, and the intended victim was unharmed. MS-13 leadership also sought to kill a rival gang member in the Elizabeth, New Jersey area. 2 Nassau-based gang members were dispatched by their clique leader to scope a location where the murder would take place and to look for cameras. We charge that these defendants were derailed in every aspect of the planning, down to where they were detailed in every aspect of the planning, down to where to dispose the victim's body and how deep to dig the hole that they were to put him in. Working with the FBI, we prevented this homicide by apprehending these defendants in New Jersey on September 30th, 2017. This massive investigation also uncovered information that helped solve 2 murders in Maryland that occurred last summer. In one case, Sailor clique members allegedly shot and killed William Hermones Canales, a Salvadoran national, on June 1st, 2017, in broad daylight, during a random street encounter in Prince George County in Maryland. We quickly learned of the shooting, the subsequent escape of the perpetrators, and the efforts taken by the regional director to relocate the murderers elsewhere. And on June 5, 2017, the Prince County, Georgia Police Department, with the assistance of DEA Group 42 and the FBI, executed search and arrest warrants and arrested 4 alleged MS-13 gang members in Hyattsville, Maryland. It doesn't end there. On September 16, 2017, 3 MS-13 members also allegedly murdered a rival gang member in Prince George's County. We shared intelligence with our federal and local partners in Maryland, and all 3 defendants were promptly arrested. And finally, this investigation also prevented a planned August 6th attack by alleged MS-13 members on one of their own members, who was allegedly targeted for punishment for overstating his position within the gang hierarchy. The indictment charges that Victor Lopez and 2 other defendants, who are currently in custody, were apprehended by police en route to this planned attack in Glen Cove and found to be in possession of a large hunting knife, rubber gloves, and ski masks. And you'll see them there. This attack was sanctioned by the gang's leader in El Salvador, and the leader of the Hollywood Clique directed the gang members to bring guns in case the member needed to be killed. This plot, too, was thwarted by police. The charges facing the defendants are too voluminous to list here. They are listed in the indictment, which I believe you all have a copy of. All defendants face charges of 25 years to life in prison if convicted. The brutal violence inflicted by MS-13 gang members has terrorized vulnerable immigrant communities on Long Island and throughout this country. I think it's important to note that the overwhelming majority of MS-13 victims are immigrants themselves, either those who refuse to join the gang, those whose members perceive as disrespecting the gang, MS-13 members selected for punishment, or rival gang members. Under the gang's rules, members are not allowed to attack or kill without the approval of gang leadership. Most members of MS-13 are young, and tragically so are their victims, but their crimes are as serious as they come: murder, drug trafficking, and dealing massive quantities of deadly heroin. This investigation, which began as an ordinary narcotics trafficking investigation and expanded in scope, as I detailed, and in geography to New Jersey, Maryland, Virginia, Mississippi, Texas, El Salvador, and beyond, lands another heavy blow to MS-13's infrastructure. We prevented murders and assaults and took down the alleged kingpin of MS-13 for the entire eastern region of the United States. But we cannot and we will not relent. Our investigations are ongoing. Our efforts to step on the recruitment pipeline continues, and we will work with all law enforcement agencies to help stop MS-13 from recruiting our vulnerable young members. And this kind of partnership, 22 agencies from the local, state, and federal level in multiple states and even internationally, shows that law enforcement stands together, united in our commitment to end the threat that MS-13 poses to our communities. Once again, I want to thank all of our partners for their extraordinary work in this case, and I will now turn it over to DEA Special Agent in Charge, James Hunt.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon. This investigation unveiled a high-level criminal network of MS-13 gang members operating our own backyard. Today, 12 high-level members have been indicted, including the regional leader of the Northeast. He was the point man on the East Coast who reported the MS-13 hierarchy in El Salvador and oversaw the criminal acts of other high-level members being charged today, with charges including murder, weapons trafficking, and drug trafficking. Law enforcement's strategic investigative efforts gave us the upper hand to combat MS-13's gang violence on the Northeast region and bring justice to the victims. This investigation took us to the streets of Elizabeth, New Jersey, Hyattsville, Maryland, Houston, Texas, and Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. What started as a typical DEA drug trafficking investigation turned into a multi-agency anti-gang, anti-violence effort including local, state, federal, and international law enforcement. And most importantly, it paved the way for law enforcement to prevent violent crimes from happening in our cities, while also building a case against 12 ruthless and lawless gang members. Members and brutal assaults were thwarted. MS-13 rules themselves. They're known for brutal violence, which is one way they gain influence and control in their regions. But our actions today have destroyed the control in this region. These indictments are testament to collaboration between law enforcement, the resources each agency or department brings to the table to confront the increasing threat of MS-13 violence and presence in American cities. I'd like to thank Nassau County DA and all partners in this investigation, specifically DA Long Island District Office and DA divisions in Houston, Washington, D.C., and San Salvador for the great and diligent work. It's been said, a team is where a boy can prove his courage on his own. A gang is where a coward goes to hide. This is what MS-13 is, cowards. And the law enforcement team that brought this together, courageous. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, now going to hear from the FBI Supervisory Agent, Geraldine Hart.
Good afternoon, and thank you. Again, I'm Geraldine Hart, Supervisor of the FBI Long Island Gang Task Force. The arrests the District Attorney just laid out are all part of a bigger and extremely important multi-agency push to rid Long Island of MS-13. We are working every day with investigators and detectives from Nassau, Suffolk, the New York State Police, federal agencies represented at the podium today, DEA and HSI, and others. We're using the FBI's vast resources of our Safe Street task forces in New Jersey, Maryland, and across the country. That's 160 task forces with more than 1,500 law enforcement agencies. We also have direct reach internationally in El Salvador, where we have a robust partnership with the government there to combat MS-13. All of these relationships help us leverage results in our cases that we're working with our partners here today. MS-13 members kill for no reason. They take people's lives for no reason. They impact the families and community for nothing other than proof that they're violent so they can gain standing in the gang. I've seen firsthand the devastating pain this gang has inflicted on loved ones of the victims. We're not going to let it continue. We are having an impact on how this gang is able to operate in this community because of this investigation and several others that are ongoing. The way we're going to dismantle this gang completely is through the powerful partnerships of law enforcement, which are demonstrated here today. But we also ask for the continued help and partnership from the community, because they are a vital part of stopping MS-13. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from Commissioner Ryder.
Good afternoon, and thank you. What you see to my left and to my right is what's called a team. And it's a team that working together of federal, state, and local partners, both here in New York and throughout the country, that will help us eradicate the violence that we have and our gang issues here in Nassau County. The Nassau County Police Department, working very closely with this team, has made over 150 arrests in the last several months. We will continue to bring the fight to them if they want to bring it to us. So Nassau County Police Department wants to thank this team, this partnership going forward. We're going to continue to work together, and that we will stop these senseless murders that occur here in Nassau County. Thank you.
Thank you. Homeland Security.
Thank you. I'd like to start by saying thank you to Nassau County District Attorney and Police Commissioner Ryder for their continued partnership. HSI continues to be committed to working with our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners in combating MS-13 and other transnational and domestic violent gangs. We know that MS-13 is not motivated by greed like many other gangs. MS-13 members thrive on spreading violence and intimidation upon our communities. It is known that MS-13 strives for power and control through fear. With our continued law enforcement efforts, especially here in the Long Island area, the tables are starting to turn. As we work on dismantling this gang, we're able to lessen the impact of their fear-mongering. As we continue to remove that from the communities so they can no longer intimidate other students or have our neighbors live in fear, then it is all of us we serve who are taking back control. We continue to have a united effort here in the Long Island. We have combined authorities to eradicate this street gang. HSI gang units are working hand in hand with local gang units, and we are moving forward as one united front. HSI continues to use our unique authorities to arrest and remove MS-13 members and other violent transnational gang members who are not legally residing in the United States. And we will continue to work with our local partners, our state and federal prosecutors to put these violent felons behind bars. Again, I'd like to thank the District Attorney's Office and Nassau County Police Department for their incredible partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll take some questions. I cannot tell you any more information about him. Not yet, no.
You mentioned that
He's in custody, yes.
the investigation uncovered the murder of Angel Solar. Are there any leads into the other bodies that were recovered late last year?
Again, as I said, this investigation is ongoing. There is a lot of information that was uncovered. Our investigations are continuing. This is a top priority for everyone in law enforcement.
Did the sophistication of the gang surprise you? The fact that they're in contact, taking orders from El Salvador, communicating, moving people around, was that a surprise?
It was surprising that they were as organized as this investigation revealed, or that they were as tightly controlled by their leaders. But, the sheer violence and brutality we're not surprised by. Yeah, this is one of the biggest takedowns we've had in this office, certainly. But more importantly, this investigation has given us information that we didn't have before, and will help lead our way and law enforcement and all of these agencies to taking down more. So it is an incredible plethora of information that we've uncovered. It's an incredible partnership that we've established, and we're going to continue working together until we eradicate this gang.
You mentioned, I know on one of those slides that there Egypt and France. Is it safe to say, does MS-13 have a presence in nearly, or the majority of countries that exist in the world? I mean, because that was surprising.
Yeah, based on our investigation, we can say that there are MS-13 members in those countries.
But I mean, how, if anyone could speak to around the world, I mean, is MS-13 operating nearly everywhere?
Well, I mean, not nearly everywhere, but again, we were surprised to see some of those countries, but the investigation definitely revealed that MS-13 has expanded its reach internationally.
On the murder of Angel Soler, we saw Victor Lopez charged directly with that. So of the 17, how many were involved in those charges?
I believe we had already arrested one more before that.
Okay, so there's been 2 arrests in Angel Soler's murder. How many people do you think lured him into the woods?
Yeah, again, we're not sure about how many people lured him into the woods.
Does this indictment become a superseding indictment for any of the acts charged?
For any of the acts charged?
In other words, how many of these
Well, these are all new acts. These are all new crimes, right? Oh, yeah, just the murder. Just Angel Soler's murder charges will be superseded by this indictment. And well, again, the weapon of choice for MS-13 is the machete. Just because in a snapshot we recovered one firearm doesn't mean that they don't use firearms extensively in their operations. Yeah, and we did actually, we did in Maryland recovered numerous firearms.
A question for Mr. Hunt on the drug aspect of MS-13. We've kind of heard that unlike other gangs, they don't traffic the same level of drugs. Was this a new development, or this is just a smaller amount of drug being trafficked by MS-13? Or is that what they do across the country and law enforcement just wasn't as aware of it?
Well, in this case here, 4 kilograms of heroin is significant. So, saying that they're low-level traffickers, I think in some areas they may be, but in this instance, 4 kilos of heroin was broken from a prison with the Mexican Mafia is a significant amount of drugs.
Is that a shame for MS-13? Are they now trafficking more drugs like the other gangs?
MS-13 was always trafficking drugs. I think in this case, that large of amount was surprising.
The 4 kilos in addition to the $1 million as individuals, or is it the 1 million is the value?
The 1 million is the value, but you have to understand with this case, with this investigation, we are dealing with high-level MS-13 gang members. So a lot of the work is being done at much lower levels. So the people that we have arrested and charged are people who are operating at a very high level and directing operations at a lower level to many more gang members.
What is that due to the tips that we have here from the Hollywood store that their leaders are gone, or?
Yeah, their leaders are gone and charged, and we're hoping that they are dismantled, and we will continue to work to make sure that that happens.
And of the dozens already incarcerated, are they to continue to cooperate at least at some level with your investigation?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that.
One more?
Chief Singas, what, the workload now for the court system, I mean, I can't help but think, you know, we're gonna see them in court, we had, you know, Commissioner Ryder mentioned the 150 arrests, which is great. How is this all being handled by the court? Do you need to bring on more staff? How is this all being dealt with?
We have a professional court system in Nassau County. We have a DA's office that's filled with professional prosecutorial professionals who know their job and know what needs to be done. We will continue to work together. If we need more resources, frankly, we'll get more resources because this is a top priority for us. MS-13 cannot operate in Nassau County, period.
Thanks, folks.
All the arrests in El Salvador?
Excuse me?
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.